Hello everyone, welcome to the Game Theory and its Applications class. If you think you are taking Professor Sungu Han, in Korean 한순구 교수's class, you are in the right place. As you must have already know, this class is 100% recorded lectures, and it's unfortunate that we have this not face-to-face classes. However, on the other hand, I hope that it gives you more convenience, and also you can take the lecture over and over again and look at the part where if there is something that you don't understand really well in the first time, then you can have a second chance to take that part because it's recorded lectures. Okay. Before entering the class, there are several points I want to emphasize. First is I try very hard to upload all the lectures at the start of the semester so that you can distribute your study time for your utmost convenience. So you can take all the classes at first, or you can postpone it and take all the classes hopefully some point before the midterm, but you can choose that. Okay. And another, as long as that is concerned, I cannot emphasize enough that you have to look at the file at the announcement, which is said grading policy. I'm gonna specify when you have to submit the first assignment and second assignment. By the way, this class, we are not gonna have a face-to-face exam or any kind of examination because there is no way for this size of this so many students come together in one room one day at the same time to take the exam. So the evaluation would be strictly based on the two assignment I'm gonna give you, and I'm gonna give you that assignment as soon as possible. So probably within the first month, I'm gonna give you the two assignment, the midterm assignment and final assignment, and you can submit them whenever it's convenient for you. But at the once again at the announcement, which would be titled grading policy, the assignment due date, not only due date, due time would be specified. And if you submit on time, I promise that I and my TA would be as generous as possible. However, if your submission is late, then that would be a cruel or very cruel like a deduction from your point. Also, I'm gonna specify the date. Until that day you have to take all the classes because I'm not gonna check your attendance every week. However, at the end of the semester, which on the day that I specify to you, I'm gonna check whether you took all the classes or not. And for each class you missed, I'm gonna deduct the points from your final score. That is also very cruelly severe. So you can expect a very considerably good grade and score if you submit everything on time, take all the lectures on time. But if you are late and violate some of the thing, then you will suffer from that mistake. Okay? Anyway, read the grading policy line by line because your final score depends on it. But don't worry, if you read it, you'll be kind of relieved that I'm not such a kind of cruel professor. Okay. Another thing is I have two very hardworking TAs, and they are going to do their best to grade your midterm assignment and final assignment, but you can guess this class is so big. All of my classes are so big. It's very, very challenging task. Also, but we have to do it. We have to do it. Additional problem for us is, of course, I'm the first to admit that when we are grading your assignment, we may make a mistake. So you have all the right to ask us, please look at my answer sheet again, because I think the grading was not really correct. Just so you can complain. So then if you complain, we are going to give you the chance to complain, and we are going to look at your answer sheet. I'm going to look at your answer sheet when you complain. But then we look at your answer sheet and we respond, whether we change it or no, you're misunderstanding, you were wrong in this and this, and I'm sorry we cannot increase your point, something like that. However, there are some students who complain again and again and ask questions again and again. In a real ideal world, we have to answer you all that. But think about that class of this size. If people begin complaining again and again, then we have to respond each time. We will never post your grade on time. So basically, you will have only one chance to complain about our grading for midterm and final assignment each. Okay? So some of you may feel that we are not very kind. We are trying our best. But I'm warning you, because of the size of the class, we cannot be, it's impossible for me to kind to you as much as a professor who's teaching like 20 students class. Think about that. If I have only 20 students, I'll talk to them every day. But class of this size, and I have another classes, that's not possible. So it's like mass production class. So if you want more like one by one detailed care, you have to think very hard whether you take my classes or not. Don't get me wrong. If you ask your seniors, I answer the student question online almost every day, at least several times a week. So in the learner system, there's a Q&A session. Students ask me a lot of things, and I'm trying to answer them as much as I want to, as much as I can. So, and generally my feeling was students were happy about my quick and like brief response. Okay, so if that's not satisfied, I'm gonna find another way. So you will ask me question, I'll answer you. You ask my TAs what is the standard criterion for the grading criterion, then they will answer. So we are gonna do at least more than the minimum kindness. However, once again, if you think about the size of class, I'm the first to admit that we may not be able to make everybody happy, because we have so many students. So if that's okay with you, why am I doing this big class? There's lots of demand for economics classes, and I get to notice that some students want to take game theory class, some students want to take a law and economics class of mine, but they apply, click and click, but in the end, they failed to get into my class and graduate, and they were very sorry. So I want to give more chance to more students. So, that's my philosophy. So hope that you understand, and hope that if you take this class, you'd be happy with it. Okay. Other than that, yeah, I'm a die-hard Red Sox baseball fan. So if you are a Red Sox fan, I would be happy. If you are not Red Sox fan, okay. Actually, not okay. If you are Yankees fan, I'm not really okay. But what can I do? But then, don't tell me anything about Yankees or other teams because I love Red Sox. Go Sox! Okay. This chances are you will never meet me. So just I'm going to show you my ugly face. This is me. Some year ago. The left side is when I was 5, 6 years ago. This is 2 years ago. So I'm getting fatter and fatter. But what can I do? I'm getting old. So if you, I know that most of you do not care how the professor, which is me, look like, but if you see a guy look like this on the campus, that's me. Okay, just in case you're curious about how my appearance, that's me. Okay, maybe probably when you meet me, I'm a little bit fatter than this because I'm getting fatter every year. Sorry on that. Okay, I'll try. Maybe I'll be a thinner, but anyway, basically I would look like this, and that's how your professor look like. If your mom asks, "Oh, what your professor, game theory professor look like?" Show your mom this picture and yeah, this fat guy. Okay. Very well. Thank you. Okay. Before it's my policy that before entering the real material of the course, I'm gonna give you the warming up questions so that you will get a grip of what kind of classes do I expect. I know that the first week of the semester you can change. You can quit my class and go to another class. Okay, or you can quit other class, come to my class. So I want to give you a chance, what this course is about. And in my opinion, the best thing to do that is give you the questions I'm asking in this class. Having said that, it's embarrassing that the first question is not the warming on question number one. Is not really game theory. It is more like principles of economics theory. But game theory is only a part of economics. So I want to make sure what economics is if you haven't really understand that. That's actually not an easy question to answer what economics is. Think about this. What economists are supposed to do, what you are supposed to do after taking the economics class, is answering the following question. There are 6 shoemakers and there are 6 shoe buyers. Okay? And they are making the shoemakers make the same quality shoes. So there's no quality difference between these 6 shoes. Unfortunately, the 6 shoemakers can make only 1 pair of shoes every day. Okay? The only difference is the first shoemaker make it at the cost of 10. Second shoemaker make it at the cost of $20. Third, and the 6th one make it at the $60. So, who's the best shoemaker? The cost 10 guy. The $60 shoemaker, use lots of materials, but he can produce only one. Okay, so he is kind of clumsy. But the experienced shoemaker, costs only $10 and make shoes same quality as everybody else. There are shoe buyers who is willing to pay up to $65, but the other guy 55, 45, 35, 25, 15. There's one guy who said, 15 is the maximum price I'm going to pay. Not $1 penny more. So it's like somebody asked me, Would you buy it as $16, this pair of shoes? My answer is no. On the other hand, if you ask that the $25 guy, would you buy the shoes at $16? Yes, because he's gonna get a pure profit of 9. Why? He is willing to pay up to $25, but he purchased it at the $16. So 25 minus 16 would be 9. So 9 would be the consumer surplus, the profit the shoe buyer would have gotten when its value is 25 and the price was 16. Okay, if these 6 shoemakers and 6 shoe buyers get together, the shoe buyers can buy only one pair of shoes. The shoe seller can sell only one pair of shoes. Okay, how many pairs of shoes would be sold? And approximately what price? Can we know that? Can we able to predict that? Yes, that's economics. When you ask the people around you, when they found out you're an economist, they would expect you to answer something like this. There are 6 shoemakers, 6 shoe buyers, and they got together with all these 6 different values. Then how many shoes would be sold? When I ask this question, a considerable number of students answered that, all 6 shoes would be sold. How come? How is that possible? The $10 shoemaker sell it to the $15 shoe buyer at the price of $12 something. Then the shoe seller would get the profit of 2 because 12 minus 10, and the shoe buyer would get the profit consumer surplus of 3, 15 minus 12. Wow, both are happy. And 20 to 25, 30 to 35, 40 to 45, 50 to 55, and 60 to 65, for example, once again, at the price 62, then the $60 cost guy would get the profit of 2, and 65 consumer would get the consumer surplus of 3. So all 6 shoes would be sold. Everybody would be happy. Do you think that's going to be happening in this world? No. What is going to be happening in the real world? Most likely, I'm not saying like 100%, but most likely be happening in this situation would be the $10 guy would never be matched 15. Let's say you are the best shoemaker in this town at the cost of 10. Are you going to try to sell it the guy who is paid only to $15, up to $15? No, the maximum price you can get is 15. The next guy, 25, already you can possibly get profit of 25 minus 10, 15. Then you realize there are $65 guy. This person is willing to pay up to 65. On the other hand, the $65 consumer, potential buyer, would never consider $60, cost guy because, I have to pay at least $60 if I want to buy from this guy. On the other hand, the $10 guy, I can pay him, if I'm lucky, only $10, $11. So the most popular, best shoemaker, the $10 cost guy, want to sell it to the $65 consumer. The $65 consumer, value consumer, want to buy it from the 10. So they would be matched immediately and they will sell and buy those shoes. The second best, 55, is gonna, $10 cost guy already gone. So 20 to 55. 45 to 30. So it will be 10 to 65 one pair, one match, 20 to 55 one match, 30 to 45 one match. The shoemaker will sell. If anybody pay him more than $30, the shoe buyer would pay any price less than 45. So there's a big room, maybe 37. Then the shoemaker will $7 profit. The shoe buyer will get $8 profit. So 3 shoes are sold. What about next? The next shoe buyer is willing to pay up to 35. But then the next lowest cost guy is 40. So this guy should get at least more than $40. This guy want to pay less than 35. As far as I know, there's no number bigger than 40 and less than 35. Okay? So this deal would not be made. So in conclusion, according to The Economist, only 3 shoes would be sold. Okay? This is a wrong graph. I missed the 6th one. But then, this is supply and demand. I'm sorry. This is demand and supply. And you know that this is a supply curve. This is a demand curve. The first shoes, 65 and what was it? Okay, let's go back. 65 and 10. Okay, 65 and 10. The second one, 55 and 20. The third one, 45 and 30. So the buyer, which is demand, is higher than supply curve. So this trade would be made. But the fourth person shoe buyer is willing to pay only 35, but then the cost is 40, so they can never make a deal. So I'm pretty sure you have seen this supply and demand curve, and you talk about market equilibrium. The meaning is we are using this graph to make a prediction on what would be happening in this situation. So according to this supply and demand, which I draw a little bit incorrect because I missed the 6th one. But then, anyway, the 3 shoes would be sold because the demand is higher than supply. But then, when we talk about the 4th one, the demand is lower than supply, which means the willingness to pay price is lower than the willingness to sell price. So they cannot be sold. This cannot be sold. So this supply and demand curve, what is the purpose? Make a prediction how many shoes would be sold. Okay? And correctly predicted that 3 shoes would be sold in this case. Okay, so what am I going to tell you? Economics is in the business of fortune telling. Okay? Economics never answer you, what's the meaning of life? We don't know. But we can answer you, what would be the stock price tomorrow? Because we are making predictions. We are fortune telling. Meaning of life is not prediction. It's a deep, deep philosophy. We are not so deep. We are just making, this is going to be happening. This is going to be happening in 1 month. But then in 1 year, this is going to be the result. Okay? So, if you want a friend who is very nice friend, who is physically very strong friend, who is smart enough to teach you what will be in the exam next week, okay? Maybe you are a person who like nice guy. Maybe you are a person who be a friend with strong guy and feeling protected. But then, in the end, many people want to be a friend of the smart guy because he say, oh, the stock price will go up next week, or the interest will go down next week, or the apartment price in this area will go up next year. So if you become a friend and listen to what he says, you can make a big profit. So the economics is kind of popular subject among students. That's why probably you're here. After all, suffering the mathematics and at all. But then what do you want is you want to learn the skill to make a prediction in our economy. Okay? And that is the purpose of learning economy. And that is what you should expect and demand from economics class. And game theory is also a part of economics. So game theory also give you the power or technology to make predictions. Okay, we are raising fortune tellers of the future. Okay, fortune tellers has been stars in human society. Okay, there's always some smart guy who said, oh, the enemy will invade us from east side. Everybody expected they are coming from west side. No. They'll be coming from east side. Okay? Something like that. And there will be a drought. Okay? If there's someone who can predict the weather, climate next year, there'll be a drought. So we have to save a lot of food this year because next year there will be no food, kind of thing. So if you are a good fortune teller, you would be a leader. You can be nasty person, you can be weak person, but if you're smart enough to make predictions, many people will listen to you and they want to be a subordinate follower of you. So making prediction power is really strong. And in old days, I don't know, they just got connect to the God, or they look at your face and they look at some the sky and stars. They make fortune telling from that. But in this modern day, how you can be a fortune teller and be a star and have many followers, you take economics class and learn it well. Okay. For example, another respected guy is the rocket scientist. I'm amazed of the job they are doing. I mean, basically, they are sending rocket to the moon. How difficult it can be, I was in the army, every Korean man in the army, and I should target it there. Like there is, for example, a target, and you aim it and shoot, the bullet goes. But shooting the moon is much more difficult than that because the moon is moving, moving very fast. So it's like moon is moving like a bullet, and if you shoot where it used to be, the moon is already gone. What you should do is, moon is here, but you shoot to this side. Then, when bullet, the rocket and moon coincide, it can land. So, when you want to be a rocket scientist, you have to calculate where the moon would be when rockets get there. That is another fortune telling. But anyway, so the rocket scientists, the natural scientists, the engineers working very hard to trace where the moon would be, where the sun would be, what the climate would be next year. We economists trying very hard to make a prediction what human beings would do next year, tomorrow. Okay? If you're interested, please stay in my class and take the game theory class. You will have this insight about predicting human beings' behavior. Thank you, and hopefully stay in my class and see you next lecture. Thank you.